How do I sound now?
And we are live. My name is Outlaw. I am your host of RNN Live. Now, for today's video, it's going to be called How Anti-SJW Gaming Culture is a Part of the Pipeline to the Alt-Right. Now, before we get on with the video, let's have our guests introduce themselves, starting from the bottom.
With the bottom.
But the
Hello,
bottom is not at
everyone.
the
I
bottom.
am Savage TV. I am the resident social conservative here to educate these liber cucks about the values of social conservatism over libertarianism.
And yes, he does live in a trash can.
That explained the echo, but anyways, hello, my name's Neko Boy. I'm a music producer and content creator.
And the usual bottom.
Typically.
You can't blame me on that one.
I'm Demon. If you don't know who I am, you can go screw yourself.
Hey, Damon. Our regular audience, unfortunately, is missing today. You're gonna have to explain a bit more than that.
Alright, let's see. I play guitar, I write music, I do voice acting, I do writing, and riding, like bicycles and getting run over by trucks. I enjoy hanging out with a whole bunch of different thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you also
Thoughts.
forgot to insert Capitol Hill writer over there.
Oh yes, I'm also an insurrectionist.
Oh, we
Although
there.
You are the reason.
I did not
Okay.
break any laws. I did not go into the Capitol. I
You
did
only
not do
broke
anything.
Discord laws, Twitter laws, left-wing laws.
All I did was film and interview people. Like, I
And
was
harass
basically
women.
press.
Which, according to Antifa alone, is a crime.
Well, yeah, I guess. I
Okay, how
mean,
do
just
I-
the fact that I went, I guess I'm on a no-fly list now. I don't know.
Anyways, let's get
Well,
on with the
as
video.
long as you don't ever mention your real name on this stream, and as long as you don't mention the important detail that you're white, you should be fine. The TSA won't pull you over.
I'm Asian and white.
Anyways,
You're like
let's
1/10 Asian.
1/8. Damn it.
Anyways, let's get this video started.
Oh, yay.
Wow.
Wait,
Dude,
spawn
you're
and
mad
film
'cause
how
you
the
went
fuck
9
you
and
want.
23.
What do
Ah,
you fucking
Xbox.
do?
Dude, you went 9 and 23.
You
how's it
talk
feel?
shit like a loser. I thought you just
Holla,
won.
I
You're
learned
talking
so much
shit like
from
a little
this.
bitch. Hey, I'm better than more than half your fucking team. Look at where I'm at. I'm above you. Shut
You
your
went 9
mouth.
and 23.
You like getting raped? Is that what you're talking about? Because I tell you stuff like
I
this,
had
but I got you
Xbox,
fucking
I
back right now.
I have friends
you
who have
can't
them.
open your mouth
Oh
to
boy, you
talk,
learn a lot from
motherfucker. You just chill the fuck out.
If you've been following my channel for a while, you know
Oh, this
I have
fucking
delved
guy.
deep
Oh.
into gamer culture. I've actually made a whole series talking about the toxic politics of the gaming community at large, and that research is going to factor into my video today. But today
Wait,
I want to
research?
also talk about how the gaming community and gamers are susceptible to alt-right and neo-Nazi recruitment, and how the dominating beliefs within the online community really facilitate this type of stuff. And it's not surprising, a lot of people on the online alt-right are also pretty big video game fans. Now, I'll stop the angry comments there saying, you know, I'm not a gamer or something, and you're just angry, you don't understand this sort of stuff. So there's my PS4 controller, there's my Xbox One controller, there's my PS5 controller. I even have Ring Fit Adventure from the Nintendo Switch, and it actually is very good. And for the purpose of this video, to prove, you know, to everyone how
Okay,
to game
just pause real quick a
I'm also
second.
gonna wear.
I hate this guy.
Yeah, the dude's doesn't have a PC and he calls himself a gamer and stuff. You're not a gamer if you're not a PC gamer.
PC Master Race.
Oh, so the console peasants aren't real people.
Hey, I've got both.
No, the main issue with console players is that they think that their device is superior to computers, even though, you know, they're literally bottom of the bin electronics more often than not.
My
Well, I will
laptop.
say that console gaming did kind of make video gaming more of a phenomenon, so you can give them that.
Yeah, we don't deny it. We're just complaining about the players. We acknowledge the importance of the console. We just don't like the shitty players.
Well,
Anyways,
But
yeah,
I
let's
will
get-
say, before we continue, that the one thing I do agree with Cavernacle on is Ring Fit is pretty fun. You can work up a sweat with it.
I was going to say,
What,
to
say
address
Wii
the
Fit?
video. To address the video, he's talking. It's like so a bunch of 15-year-olds talking smack to each other on Call of Duty means that they're going to become alt-right. That's just a ridiculous notion. I mean, that's what 15-year-olds do.
Hey, remember, there is an article somewhere out there which talks about of how watching animal videos on YouTube can make you alt-right.
Well, it's kind of basically like back in the day before all these YouTube videos became a thing because the internet was young. Most of the stuff was, localized to your bedroom. So people didn't get to see this, 24/7 online.
Well, and it's also just the typical kind of cycle with the media wanting to think, how can I profit off of this and, sensationalize it? I mean, similar to, the moral panic of gaming back in the 90s and even early 2000s.
Well, the moral panic.
I would say the biggest difference between the moral panic of gaming back in the 90s compared to today is that the moral panic came from people who had absolutely no institutional power in the very slightest, whereas we're dealing with people who literally can game these companies into literally deplatforming people and destroying their industries.
No, I will
mean-
have to disagree because there is that infamous clip of Hillary Clinton back in the 90s saying of how, what was it again? The damage equivalent or the violence equivalent increase from video games in children is equivalent to the lead damage on children's brains.
Yeah, but the thing is that the worst thing to come out of the stuff from the 90s was just the rating system, which is basically what they did with movies after Night of the Living Dead came out decades ago. So, I mean, I would say that is not the same as like these companies are literally hemorrhaging money just because they're afraid of being labeled ignorant and stuff today. I would say the
I like
damage is
the
far
rating
worse today
system.
compared to the 90s.
The rating system tells me what I want to watch.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like the worst thing out of the 90s was just the rating system. Like video games did not face nearly the same level of scrutiny as they are today with what you get from the social like justice types.
Yeah, look
That's
what
a
they
good-
did to Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, and
Well,
look what happened to all the games that got censored by Steam because people threw a hissy fit.
Oh yeah, they give us Last of Us 2. Yay.
So that's my point is like I feel like bringing up the parents groups from the 90s is kind of a bad comparison when we're talking about the vast differences between influence and power over these
I mean, you are
corporations.
right. I mean,
Because
just like look at how
corporations
Sony's
aren't
behaving.
scared about parents. They're scared about being called like ignorant names like racist and sexist and stuff because that has a serious history to it because you've been taught as a kid, you're a kid, to not be labeled this way, that it's evil to be labeled such things.
Well, in the 90s, Tipper Gore was the one that launched the video game rating system because her husband was VP.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I
So
would
it wasn't
much.
just parents groups.
Yeah, but I'm saying is I would much rather take what's happened in the 90s over what's going on today because today
Oh, God,
you can
yeah.
get a person and destroy. Like these people they're literally going after bank accounts. Like bank accounts are no longer working with certain people because they have the wrong opinions and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's authoritarian bullcrap. It's Chinese communist style bullcrap.
Yeah, and
Okay,
people fell hook,
continue
line, and
with
sinker
this.
for it because people are more people will react strongly to what they're doing today compared to like complaining about think of the children and stuff.
Think of the children. How dare you?
Anyways,
Well,
let's
think
get
of
on
this
with the
way: you
video.
spent your entire childhood having horrific imagery of like civil rights and all this other stuff burned into your brain and stuff. So people react more strongly to that stuff now.
Anyways, let's go on. I think we've talked about that long enough.
A Sony hat I got for Christmas because also my hair is going crazy But yeah, I love video games. I play video games every single day. I have, most of the consoles. The only one I don't play is PC. Video games have made up a big part of my life. I used to be a video game journalist, and I did some cool stuff at uni, did some cool, opportunities, got to interview the guy who makes the Lego games, got to go to the studio in Watford and everything. So I love video games, and of course, what I'm not saying is every single person who plays video games is some sort of Nazi. People often think I'm saying that when I make these videos. I get loads of comments saying, not all pagan people are Nazis, not all furries are Nazis. Yeah, I know. There was never ever.
Just pause the video. I wanted to say a stupid joke, but now it's gone too far. Basic thing is, who wants to start a counter to see at which point does he call gamers Nazis? Or gamers he don't like Nazis?
Anyways, let's go on.
Saying that. So to make it clear, just from the start, I'm not saying all gamers are Nazis. What I am saying is that online gaming culture is very toxic for anti-left-wing politics, which can often facilitate recruitment into the alt-right. But before we get into the rest of the video, if you want to support my channel used in my video series, The Toxic Politics of the Gaming Community, please go and check that out afterwards. Angry Joe.
It is an undeniable fact.
Like the Axeman, to more left-leaning types like Angry Joe. It is Trump supporters like this, with the language they're using and the issues they're compilation, because it's a deep dive in my video series, The Toxic Politics of the Gaming Community. Please go and check that out afterwards.
Can we pause for a
deep
sec?
dive on individual.
So he's saying Angry Joe, a Biden supporter and pretty openly anti-Trump, is a pipeline to the alt-right. Is that what I'm getting?
And the quartering, who's like a milquetoast fence sitter. What?
Oh, hold on.
I don't
Let's go
know.
on with it.
Guys, hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. If you actually heard Richard Spencer speak, I would think Democrat economics it's doing a far better job.
Anyways, let's continue.
Figures, but have a look at this quick compilation and see what you notice with the language they're using and the issues they're talking about, from the more extreme people like Trump supporters, like the quartering, to more, I guess, moderate centrists like the Axeman, to more left-leaning types like Angry Joe.
It is an undeniable fact that they took what was clearly a beautiful woman, turned her into what can only be described as a 13-year-old boy, and obsessed over who that character dated and the love interests of the show. Now, that is a fine show for adults.
That opinion was stupid,
but it isn't the type of cartoon I don't
know. I think I can agree with him because I don't think I particularly like the design either.
Well,
no, it's just a crappy design.
Well,
it's a simple design.
I think it's funny they're saying like, oh, she looks like a boy, but it's like she's 13. Like, girls are in the middle of puberty; they don't have everything developed yet.
No, but there's ways to make her not look like a man, because people have compared the body shape, and it is much more similar to that of a boy than it is a teenage girl.
And you also got to remember,
like for example, Clownfish TV had commented about how the body shape is that more similar of that of a drawing design for a boy than it is for a teenage girl.
And
even non-sexual ones we're talking about.
Can I make my damn comment?
What is it, Z?
I just wanted to say, and remember, we live in a time where Abby is a teen. Anyone remember her?
Oh yeah, you're talking about that villain from
Last of Us Part 2.
Yep, yeah.
The professional golfer.
The one who looks like they took a woman's head, chopped the rest of the body off, and gave it to a roid freak.
Professional golfer. That was good.
I am kind of curious in the lack of an industrialized civilization that she managed to pull off that body physique.
But anyways, I do have to disagree with you with Neko on the sense of the body type, because I've seen it. It does look really boyish. I think you don't have to make it obviously a sexual drawing to make it more look like a girl. There's easy ways to make it look like a girl without it being over sexualized or anything like that.
Well, why don't they just change the name from She-Ra to Hera? Then I'd be fine.
Anyways, there were other problems and weird things about it, because I think, Z, you brought up the fact that you heard that the lesbian relationship with those two characters is kind of abusive?
Not with those two characters, just like several characters. There's one main thing between a villain and another character, which a lot of lesbians liked from the show She-Ra, but everyone is like, why do you like this? This is literally an abusive relationship. But then wasn't also the core relationship kind of... You get the point. It's just lesbians being lesbians.
Hey, Z, there's a comment for you. 319. Quartering is right. Read that one.
Okay. The quartering is right, and New She-Ra was done by IIRC, because I keep forgetting what that is. The same people that did Steven Universe, Hard Leftist. No, it's not done by the same people who did Steven Universe. It's done by the same friend group of people. This is the same friend group who's done other shows like Steven Universe, OKKO, Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, and a couple others which I've completely forgot. All similar drawing styles and animation styles, all similar writing styles, but the only exception being Gravity Falls.
Okay, continue, Outlaw.
All right, let's continue. Did you have any other comments you wanted to say about it, Nico? Any counters?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Interested in my youth.
Are you saying he's in the Nazi forces? Is Richard Spencer a time traveler? His ideas are fucking trash, but again, not a Nazi. Morons like you that toss the word around do a massive disrespect to those who died in the Holocaust.
Gamers who have political fucking motivations, or really, I think it's the veneer of political motivation is just self-motivated to get attention to them and their side and their clique. And it breaks my heart because it's primarily...
Well, technically speaking, if you want to go in the very, very critical way of looking at it, Richard Spencer isn't even a neo-Nazi, because Nazis they didn't even think all particular Europeans were their particular race, wasn't it? If I recall, what was the ones that they did not like even in Europe? Other particular groups?
Gypsies.
Slavs.
Well, yeah, Gypsies and Slavs, but
Russians.
weren't there other ones they didn't like? They didn't like the Eastern Europeans, was it?
That was the Slavs.
Okay.
Yes.
The French.
Yeah, generally the Slavs.
No one likes the French demon.
The
Well,
English.
that's probably because of the Treaty of Versailles. They hated the French.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
a lot
but
of
not
people don't like
necessarily
the
their
French.
ethnicity, though.
They hated everybody.
The French were assholes to everyone. I mean,
But like their ethnic politics are kind of weird. Like for instance, they called many Muslims honorary Aryans because they were trying to recruit them. So who the fuck knows?
Well, they did the same with the Japanese the Native
yes.
Americans.
Listen, race is power, all right. And for what are they, technocratic-ish like? That's absolutely important. I don't think it was very consistent as people make it out to be.
Well, I'm not saying it's
no,
consistent.
there is some level of consistency. It just all differentiates. It also depends on country experiences, such as like a country which completely avoided the whole situation with the Nazis taking their Jewish population was Finland. And actually there is a famous Finnish sniper, not the White Death, another one, who received an Iron Cross from the SS. And so on. It's a mixture of interactions during the war and what the political elite were wanting for.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, question, real quick. It's a little off topic, but anybody know if Mussolini was really fanatical about race?
Not that I know of.
I mean,
he was an Italian nationalist.
He was an Italian nationalist who wanted to recreate a modern equivalent of the Roman Empire.
More specifically, an Italian imperialist.
Yeah, what like...
No, nationalist. Like I said, not really imperialist, because he did dethrone a king and replaced the old monarchy.
You don't have to be a king to be an imperialist, because the fact that they wanted to invade Africa, that is imperialist.
I would say the correct description is what Z said. I would say he was a nationalist.
Yeah. To me, if you want to conquer Africa, it doesn't make it necessarily imperialist.
It could make you colonialist.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why most people went and imperialized Africa in the later, was the 19th century is not that it provided them with a whole lot of resources. They can just call themselves emperors and just dickwag how much land they have.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
All
let's
right.
go on with the video.
Get on with these morons.
Primarily,
let's
what you
just
label it
last
as
comment
social justice warriors
Yeah.
that are out of control.
Fuck your culture, fuck your history, give me diversity, or I'll write a shitty, racist article about it. This backwards asshat of a man tries to self-victimize himself and disregard the nation of Poland. This article is a perfect example of how SJWs can get so wrapped up in their own ideology that they don't realize what they're
Mental
writing is
Minister,
racist,
we already know
culturally
that.
insensitive, and
But the
virtue
badge is still
signaling
called the Iron
propaganda.
Cross.
Now, before we go any further, Angry Joe also defended the National Guard once, and I made a video on it, and he responded on Twitter and on YouTube, very angry, basically saying, you can't say anything these days, but I feel like the stuff I criticised him on was pretty legitimate, so go check out that video as well. But as you see in that stuff, to varying degrees, they blame SJWs and leftists for ruining video games. To them, the left wing just have an agenda to ruin everything they love by forcing diversity into all the games they play. But this type of stuff is nothing new. Of course, we...
What?
I said that's what they do. Is this guy blind or is he just brainwashed?
I was about to point out, didn't we watch an earlier video of this guy where he says he wants to force... Which country is he in again? Britain?
He's in Britain, yes.
Somewhere in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't we
He's in
watch a previous
Ireland,
video of him
specifically.
where he wanted to force Britain to adopt a socialist government?
Yeah, he just contradicted his own point from the last video we watched.
Anyways, let's go on.
Quick
We
question.
had Gamergate, which...
What do you think he thinks? Like, the political spectrum of the Jews would be probably farther right than most of the people he criticized. So I'm just curious of his opinion on them, the ones in 1940s, 1930s.
I don't think he likes Jews, if I recall.
Well, it's just not what's that. Because at some point they have to be a differential of what the hell a Nazi is. Because of his hyperbolic opinions, the Jews would have been Nazis as well.
Well, George Soros was.
No, shut the fuck up.
I couldn't help it.
Anyways, let's continue.
Oh, but
which was alleged...
Yes.
Oh, we're
before
never
we
gonna get
continue,
through this.
yeah, just a quick thing. Is my microphone being better now, or...
Yes.
Okay, good.
allegedly about ethics in games journalism, but just turned into a hate campaign on people like Anita Sarkeesian and other people who wanted
she's a
more,
bitch.
I guess,
Who deserved
feminism
it.
and equality in video games, who wanted more diversity, and it really became
You get
a rallying
diversity,
cry
and then
for
you
this
didn't like it.
type of stuff. Now, why I say it's not about ethics in games journalism is because, to me, the biggest problem with games so-called journalism, with the big outlets like IGN and GameSpot, is mainly about the corporate influence there and capitalism, rather than what these guys
You pause
saw
for a
as
sec.
some sort of bias.
Oh my
Now,
god.
okay, first I'm gonna go back to Anita. Like, she admitted she was not a gamer, and I mean, we already kind of knew from watching her videos, but she just admitted eventually, like, yeah, I'm not really a gamer.
Yeah. She just had that feminist frequency website, and she was just a rampaging
Well,
biatch.
She's a she's a con
Con
artist.
artist.
What were you gonna say just now?
I was actually saying communist. That's not the correct term. She's a con artist.
Well,
she might be
if-
a communist too, but she's a con artist.
Definitely a con artist. Just like Zoe Quinn.
And going
Quinn is
back
just
to
a
the
whore.
current topic, he's on about game journalism. He is partially right. A lot of reviews now are just basically paid promotions.
Yeah.
Well, it's something I also just don't like about him is if somebody morally does something wrong with money, it's all of capitalism, and I guess the millions of people that aren't doing anything wrong or using it for good reasons can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, and
No
this is-
nuance.
and it's similar with his other video about like gamers and capitalism, like how crunch time and other conditions in the industry. Because the counter to that is the indie developers who fix those problems. So surprise, capitalism solved the problem.
Yeah.
Capitalism
Like,
is
another thing
everywhere.
does he have a Patreon? How does he make his
Yes.
money?
Yes, he has a
Oh.
Patreon.
He does have a Patreon.
Oh, really? That's an interesting fact.
So his value is determined by demand. Sounds a lot like capitalism.
It's
So-
not
so his
capitalism.
entire-
No, wait. It's not capitalism. It's organized socialism. I just made that up. Does that make any sense?
Oh my god, guys, by the way, I do have a Patreon and a PayPal.
Anyways,
I mean-
I'll open an OnlyFans.
If he doesn't take down his Patreon, I'm giving him no credibility because he's exploiting the system that he claims to be the ultimate evil in the world.
Hey Z, my OnlyFans is specifically for women, okay? Not for you.
You talk as if I have money to spend.
Oh, come on. You know,
I
no,
have
wait.
an OnlyFans.
No woman would go 100 miles near that. So you might as well.
Actually, got 2 around the riots. It's kind of impressive.
2 in 2 nights.
anyways, let's continue.
So that was a big moment for these reactionary types, and it's only gotten worse, in my opinion, with people like The Quartering, Geeks and Gamers, and various other channels which just thrive on this outrage culture and paint this boogeyman of the SJW who wants to ruin everything. Now they can't...
Well, because they have far more influence than that of any of the right-wing conservative Christian groups in the 90s.
Oh, it's not with only with. Well, it's not only with that. If the guy can, like Kamala Harris, she literally conflated the storming of the Capitol. The reason why they didn't get shot was just due to an ethnic racial hierarchy, and that's a day one of her being vice president. Somebody with a lot of political influence.
Mm-hmm.
It is a political necessity at this point for them to be SJWs to some extent, or to at least cater to them.
Yeah, they don't really believe it.
Well, yes, but that just goes to the length to show how much influence they have. Like all those corporations, like Nike, you know, if Nike, who has child slaves, are profiting off of this shit, it must have a lot of influence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at Biden's entire cabinet. It's all Wall Street execs, big tech company people. I mean, it's just all the people that, well, all the Bernie bros were saying, oh, we hate these people. Like, oh my God, like, this is so terrible. Like the millionaires and the billionaires. But no, now guess who's all in power?
Don't forget, they also have one cabinet member who is a legitimate black supremacist.
Well, we've got a new senator who's a legitimate black supremacist, too.
You know, the thing is, the thing I kind of never understand are a lot of these black ethno-nationalists. They say that they can't be racist, but what if they're racist towards some of these Chinese? Or
they are.
Or just somebody who's... Well, just the thing is, I think every single bigot at some point has argued that they couldn't be racist. Because then they would say, I can't be racist against somebody who isn't a proper human being.
God. That makes sense. That does make sense.
I mean, look at how many anti-Semites we have in Congress. Rashida Tlaib, Omar.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Deep South, all right? They view they weren't being racist because the people that they were oppressing were essentially animals.
That was Democrats.
Not animals, farm equipment.
Oh, Z, damn it.
But it's true. That's literally the argument. That
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, Jesus.
Well, the thing with the South is, if you're dirt poor, 20 guys shoot each other because somebody lost a pig, or your daddy comes home and beats you every night, that racial hierarchy is the only thing making you feel special. Like, really, racial identitarianism was part of the reason that they even succeeded from the Union. But that's a story from another day.
All right, let's finish up with this commie bastard.
I was just gonna quickly say, does anyone remember the good old days when we were so happy that PewDiePie got a reference in a mainstream video game? I want those old days again.
See anything, they're not going to go hysterical.
What?
You can even really see it coming. I made a video on their response to Batwoman being cast as a black bisexual woman before they even made their videos because I knew what was coming. And go on their channels right now. They get outraged at everything. They both made so many videos on The Last of Us Part 2 because Neil Druckmann said he liked Anita Sarkeesian, because he included a trans character, because he included a pretty muscular woman, and because he included
A pretty muscular
gay
woman.
couple.
A woman who physically fused with Hulk Hogan.
Who's
To them,
Hulk Hogan
that
with a girl's face?
It's so outrageous. It's pandering. It's diversity for the sake of it. And they use this to rally their supporters and to brainwash a lot of people to seeing that this is actually the reality when it's totally not. And it also
Pause for a
creates
quick
some
second. I just got
Okay,
one small
genius.
comment.
What is the reality? I'll hear him out. I'll listen.
Well,
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say the whole thing that if thousands or a good percentage of the population is going to follow one thing, there's two ways you can look at it. You can argue the same way that he is doing, that they're brainwashed, or you can argue that there is some merit to it. Because
No.
I'm going to go down a slightly controversial route because it does involve 1920s Germany and one reason for the Nazis rising to power.
Just get on with it.
The whole stereotype that Jews only hire the Jews is because when you look at the 1920s, the only successful business owners were Jewish, and they were typically only hiring their own family members who were also Jewish and not really hiring anyone else.
Yeah.
It
Well,
doesn't help the image.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that also because like other people wouldn't hire Jews?
Yeah, but that was also because other people didn't have money and the Jews were coming from other countries, coming to Germany because it was cheap to live.
Hey, well, the Irish had it harder here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Though,
Well, I
if
think
going back to
around
the-
this time. Go ahead.
I was gonna talk about the game history thing. Like, notice how like throughout gaming history we had women like Samus and Laura Croft from Tomb Raider, and no one complained back then that they were women because they liked the games because it actually wasn't forced. So
There were women in Resident Evil. You could play as Leon or Anna.
or Silent Hill.
There's also one of those shows that were called what are those violent gaming series that is blood and gore basically?
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat with female characters. I don't think anyone's ever complained about those.
Oh yeah,
I was going to bring out the best example to trump all of y'all to show a situation that no one gave a shit about and people enjoyed. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Could you imagine an all-black cast in a modern setting now? How much divisive advertising it would have?
I don't know. I grew up watching the Cosby Show, Fresh Prince.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
But-
Watch out when you say Cosby.
But
Well,
going
when
back to the video game history thing, it's the same thing with diversity in movies. They always ignore the history so they can elevate themselves and pretend they're doing something revolutionary when it's not.
And then they just say a bunch
when they're
of
like, "Oh, it's the first female lead," and it's like, have you missed the last 30 years?
Heard of Alien?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Terminator.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they, you go on a site like Rotten Tomatoes, you notice they all get the movies first, and they want their screeners and they want their studio time, so they're all give it glowing reviews, and then the critic score is like 95%, and the audience score is like 20. And then they go back and like slowly the critic score goes down because they're like, oh, well, I didn't really watch it. I just kind of gave a glowing review because they gave me free stuff and access. They're full of crap. Don't even go to Rotten Tomatoes if you want a movie review because they're garbage.
Yeah, actually, one of the more hilarious thing was, what was the recent film? Was it Wonder Woman that was recently released at
Wonder Woman 1984? Yes, it bombed.
No, not whatever Warner Brothers movie there was, because it turns out that they accidentally leaked their whole reviewer scam. Basically, they divided reviewers into 3 groups. Group number 1 is the one who's mainly their opinion gets. They are the ones who get the film before it's released, and other things like a trip to Hawaii.
Oh yeah, because that doesn't influence them at all.
Anyways, that's not important. Just keep in mind, the current CEO of Rotten Tomatoes is an ex-Disney executive.
Oh.
You may notice a pattern with all of the Disney-owned licenses on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyways, let's just continue on with this garbage.
Siege mentality, where you have the gamers who just want to play games and have fun without thinking about politics, and then you have the journalists and you have, I guess, academia who are like, no, we must have more representation in video games no matter what, even if it ruins the gaming experience. And then that's why you got such a hostile relationship often between the gaming press and the fans. Think of, the GameSpot reviewer who reviewed Cyberpunk and gave it a 7, and think of the insane harassment they got before people realized it was a buggy mess. And that was largely because CD Projekt Red framed themselves as this anti-SJW company. So the gamers, TM, rallied around them. So I showed you various gaming YouTubers saying stuff about SJWs.
If you go back a little bit, I actually agreed with this part there that it's a lot of the video game journalists that are making people angry. I can agree with that. Now, then he kind of goes off on a tangent here, but I just wanted to say I actually agreed with that point.
Fictional boogeyman.
No one look at our comments.
Do I think these guys are all on the alt-right? No, I think the quartering is as close as you're going to get.
So many people misspell
but I see the other two as more like misinformed gamer bros who do often have toxic politics, but I wouldn't say they are neo-Nazis. But why it is important to talk about what they're saying is because of this sort of conspiracy theory about the SJW. Because if you believe in this wholeheartedly, is it much of a stretch to say that you could also be convinced to believe in cultural Marxism? The anti-Semitic conspiracy theory?
Yes!
What?
Oh, okay. let me
what did I
interject
just
here.
witness?
If the concept of cultural Marxism is so anti-Semitic, why does Ben Shapiro talk about it like every week?
Well, plus there were also leftists who actually, decades ago, admitted to having what we call now cultural Marxism. So,
like the leaders of BLM.
Well, not just them. I'm talking about some people in academia decades ago have admitted to basically what we now call cultural Marxism and how to get a communist utopia. They talked about using the different groups that are in conflict in the United States, trying to change, get them towards working together to establishing communism and turning them against everyone else.
Comrade, what do you mean decades ago? They still do that now.
Well, yes, but I'm saying they admitted to it decades ago.
They admitted to it now. They brag about it.
Yes, some do.
Don't worry, it will be easier to know who to shoot.
Anyways, let's go on.
Theory Jordan Peterson pushes, and people like Boris Johnson and the Attorney General of the UK also talk about. It isn't a stretch to get them to believe that stuff, believe these racist conspiracy theories, and once you have someone believing in that, is it much of a stretch to make them believe in cultural Bolshevism and this worldview that the Jews are controlling left-wing movements to undermine Western culture as part of their takeover? Now, to many people, that might seem like too much of a step, and I'm not saying that people are angry with the Act Man, but
Where was this? The founder of BLM had a photo of Maduro, the communist dictator of Venezuela. Yeah.
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying we've known this has been going on, and they've admitted to this kind of stuff for decades. It's like it's not like something that's new. This has been admitted to decades prior.
Yeah.
Now, if only the US had the same balls as the Italians.
In what way?
Hey, Zeo Gold, I don't want to change your mind because you're right.
No, because in the 1970s, my father witnessed some of the worst riots that have ever happened in Italy since the 1920s, basically. And it was between people who gave a shit about Italy and communists. And, well, let's just say the communists didn't make it out alive. And the Soviet Union was unhappy. So, that happened.
I think a lot of gamers would have done and will, and this goes hand in hand with the YouTube algorithm pushing the people who talk about this stuff. Like if you watch Jordan Peterson, you're going to go down a big rabbit hole if you keep clicking on the YouTube recommended, which is going to get more racist and
Okay,
more
pause it again. I got a quick comment.
This...
No, if you watch Jordan Peterson, you're going to become more right-wing because you're going to see all the comments of all the left-wingers making fun of the fact that he had... didn't his wife die of cancer? Or is dying of cancer?
No, she recovered, but she did have cancer.
Okay, because I can still see the comments where they make fun of his wife with cancer.
Yeah, they're angry, spiteful, hateful people.
And also, in regards to the algorithm, it's literally the same with the left. If you watch a few left-wing videos, it's going to recommend more of them.
Hence why I do not. Hence why I refuse to watch a shoe on head video.
I quit
Oh
watching
yeah, but
her.
she's alt-right. No, she's not at all. But that's what they say.
Oh,
He's friends with Josh.
What I'm gathering,
right.
What I'm gathering is that the guy thinking because of these recommendations, it's easy for somebody to be converted into a Nazi because he started with Jordan Peterson. I don't know. I feel like this can be said with a question to ask him. So, to what extent do you start watching left-wing videos and you start to justify pedophilia? You know, like I think this rabbit hole, in fairness, can be said to some extent if you're watching left-wing content, but I don't think most people are supporting very radical ideas like that. And if it is, then what to measurable extent?
Well, yes, that's the other thing. Because we've looked at the statistics, like any white supremacist or alt-right groups, it doesn't even make up 1% of the U.S. population.
I would say I've gone all the way down the rabbit hole on YouTube and other places, and I have yet to find anybody that's an avowed white supremacist or neo-Nazi.
Honestly, the closest one that comes to my mind that I used to watch, which you could argue was a white supremacist, is none other than Hunter Avalon.
Oh, well.
His older videos, the ones which he's deleted. Oh boy, do I remember him saying some things in those videos that I will not say on the stream.
No, he's just a grifter. He's a piece of crap.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm trying to say. That's the only example I can think of.
Well, the biggest one that I can think of, I don't know if his YouTube channel is back around or whatnot, it would be Nick Fuentes, would be the only example of an alt-right-like person.
Yeah,
he calls himself a paleo-conservative, which is not paleo-conservatism at all, which, quite frankly, makes no sense because the guy isn't a capitalist, so he can't be a paleo-conservative, at least in the U.S. definition.
Yeah, he's a socialist, isn't he?
I don't think he's a socialist. I think he's more of a regulationist.
And he's a, segregationist, right?
More like he's a supremacist. He's a legit supremacist because he only wants white Christians to be able to vote and hold anything of power.
Okay, so he's a piece of crap.
To be fair, if we have to take Hollywood for any example of a future that may work, Wakanda seems to be fairly successful. What was that joke from Professor Totspot from Vox's Productions? Wakanda is a super powerful sci-fi nation, something like that, thanks to its nationalism, close borders, and being an ethno-state. Uncle Adolf would be proud.
All right, let's finish listening to the commie bastard.
Anti-SJW hysteria throughout the gaming community, from the quartering to Angry Joe, two people who don't like each other, makes it fertile ground for getting people into more anti-Semitic, Nazi-style conspiracy
What?
theories.
Is he Jewish?
So I'm going to use a bit of...
I just have to ask,
No,
is he
he's not
Jewish?
Jewish. He's Irish.
Yeah, I like Irish.
Okay, that's not exactly I mean, yeah, being Irish would give you a higher chance of being Catholic, but that still doesn't
He's
answer
an
my
atheist.
question. Ah, okay. You could have answered that instead of Irish.
His god is the government.
Anyways, let's continue.
He's not Irish, right?
I don't know. He's never, I think, really specified from what I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he might be Northern Irish because he has like the Britain flag in his profile pic.
Yeah, and I was also thinking because he doesn't look Irish. That's why, in the possible near future, depending on how British events will continue, his car might blow up. Trust me, the IRA is coming back. I ain't doing it. It's the Irish who do it. I have no part in it. I don't give a shit
Anyways,
about the British.
let's continue.
Anecdotal experience here and talk about the fans of these gaming YouTubers a bit more. So I've made multiple videos criticizing PewDiePie, and I'm not going to talk about the criticisms here or anything. I just want to talk about the reaction.
So
whenever I've
awful.
made those videos, I've got insanely brigaded on YouTube. I've got harassed and doxxed and all these different things by actual neo-Nazis because I criticize PewDiePie.
Pause it quickly. I want to read the comments over here. Bro, what the fuck are you even trying to prove? We know PewDiePie is a covert alt-righter. We love him.
That's someone trolling.
Yeah, that's definitely a fucking troll. Okay, what's this? 3 minutes in. Nah, dude, we just don't want migrants, especially Africans, regardless of how they act and what their values are.
Okay, that last one is definitely sounds like a troll. I don't know about the top one.
Both are a fucking troll. First one is a troll. The second one is fucking bait.
Well,
yeah, because notice the character in his profile. I forget his name from Futurama.
Oh yeah, it does notice that.
But anyways, how's the top one a troll? Can you please explain?
Come on. Okay, title name, especially care for. Bro, what the fuck are you even trying to prove? We know PewDiePie is a covert alt-righter. We love him. How can that not be a troll? I mean, that could also be a serious alt-righter, but once again, how many of them are actually there?
Yeah, I seriously doubt it is.
I personally haven't heard anyone from the alt-right like praise PewDiePie or anything. So
the only time I've ever heard anyone on the alt-right praise PewDiePie is when he was on the cover of the Daily Stormer. And that's because that's how they get views. But what I must give credit to the Daily Stormer, and this will be the only situation where I will give it. After that whole situation came out where it turns out the 3 journalists who smeared PewDiePie and got Disney to cancel his contract with him, so him earning less money. And people found out their very old Twitter jokes, let's just say that use a very fun N-word with a very hard R at the end. Well, the Daily Stormer put them as the whole website front page for some time.
That's some good karma.
And then they got the...
That's the thing about a lot of leftists. You get them in private, and they will say the most racist, offensive, homophobic, whatever phobe or ism you want to use. They will say it all.
Especially towards a right-wing person.
Well, remember...
or somebody who's an ethnic minority but Republican.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, black people become Uncle Toms, Latinos become, well, I'm not going to say it.
Or
wetbacks.
Or they also call like black Republicans House N-word.
Yes.
Oh boy, we can't play any of this stuff. Everyone will have to use their imagination, so the N-word is Nutella.
Yes.
Here, I put my mask on, I'm safe.
Anyways, let's continue.
No, I wanted to say... Fuck, I forgot it. Let's just...
What?
No, I wanted to say something, but now I forgot. Just continue.
Biggest gaming YouTuber and the biggest YouTuber on the platform. Now, there are various different reasons while people might be attracted to his content. But I think it's telling that his
because he's kind of funny and he's an entertaining guy. That's why the majority of people like him.
And he's really good looking.
Yeah, that too. He's got a sexy bod.
I mean, not to me, but I could admit
what? I got it. He got to admit he's got a nice abs now and everything.
Yeah, after he deleted his Twitter account.
Yeah, sad. Anyways, I'm gonna make sure you get that way too, Val.
Oh shit.
Oh god. I don't want to hear you two. Stop it. Ugh.
Hey, what did we talk about the workplace? No sexual conversations here in the stream.
Evidently, you did not read the fine print of what you signed up for.
Anyways, let's continue.
Audience has this large Nazi contingent that if someone like me criticizes him for his politics and saying the N-word or talking about mass migration to Sweden or talk about various different things, wearing that Georgian cross and all the other stuff he said on stream before. And I feel like it proves my point that this community does have a problem, and he's the type of person who brings on Ben Shapiro for a meme review and talks about SJWs and everything like that.
He brings up Ben Shapiro and says PewDiePie's a Nazi, yet ignores the fact that Ben Shapiro is a conservative Jew.
And
not only that, a Jew who will heavily shield for Israel. For some reason, I feel like a Jewish state will not be liked by a Nazi.
By the way, guys, did I mention my wife's a doctor?
And the meme review wasn't political. He was literally on just for memes.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I know. I remember.
Well, like another thing in particular was Nazis. Yes, under Nazi Germany, 99% of the population were Christian, but a lot of the really fucked up SS members were atheists. That's partially.
They were members of a cult. They weren't atheists.
Yeah, when you become part of the SS, you do join a cult. I mean, Himmler himself set up the whole, what was it, Black Sun Society? Was it called again?
Yeah, did it come from the Veer Society originally?
I'm not too sure. I'm not fully. I cannot confirm the full thing. Just
didn't they create their own neo-pagan religion?
Yeah. It was originally. It was in the 1910s and 20s. It was, I believe, it was called the Veer Society, and then it turned into some other weird pagan cult, and that was what all the high-ranking Nazis followed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's also the whole thing that, the Nazis were very into the occult as well.
Well, they certainly weren't into Christianity. I mean, the guy who's the king of the Jews, and not only was that, but if generally with Christianity, unless if the government or kings were trying to manipulate the meaning of the book, any race could stand an equal chance of getting into heaven. You couldn't properly be a Christian and then properly be a Nazi. Mm-hmm. Those two things would never work. And here we are, a very Christian society that is very egalitarian, has a shit ton of minorities and stuff, and we're the pinnacle of Nazism. I mean, like, we're either really ineffective Nazis or just not at all. Mm-hmm. Like, a matter of fact, if there is any racial discrimination or any police brutality, it's in very diverse left-wing cities.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to start at the bottom. IRL, like in your actual life, have you ever met one?
Met what?
Like a white nationalist or a neo-Nazi?
I sort of lived with one, but he was a very confusing and weird individual. He was a typical Southerner. Didn't like blacks very well.
All right, so
then again, I don't think he was. I don't think he could understand or even know what the fuck anything that Minecraft even taught.
Probably never read it.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that your friendship broke up with him when he caught you being just like 6 feet close to his cousin?
No. The guy was dating my mother.
Wait, what?
And I was
This went a very strange turn.
well, no.
Right.
No. This is when I was 16 and 17. I knew a guy
You
who
could
was.
specify that info.
Well, why are you drawing rapid conclusions?
Right, Neko. Neko, you ever known one? Neko, are you there?
Neko is out for something.
Okay, well then I'll go next.
Out for what?
Well, the question was, have you ever actually met a white supremacist or neo-Nazi in real life, in your life?
In person, no, I genuinely haven't.
Okay.
I've seen two of them who got out of prison, which there is sort of an actual neo-Nazi problem there.
In prison? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get thrown in there, people racially divide themselves up and form gangs, and there are quite a few neo-Nazi gangs. But I don't know what they're like when they get out. I think they quickly ditch the fucking thing. But I was working third shift, and I certainly see some motherfuckers that had a bunch of Hitler tattoos on him. But he's like 1 out of 2 million people, and the place where I live. It's the most whitest place in America, statistically speaking, and that's all I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Right,
as I said before, the statistics show that, I mean, even the Daily Beast and I forget which one of the more racist left-wing organizations, it was either the ADL or the Southern Poverty Law Center, I forget which one does the hate group stuff, did the statistics, and they found that as I said, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, alt-righters, all those groups together combined, they make up less than 1% of the U.S. population. So your likely chances of running into one is very low. And they have no institutional power whatsoever. The closest they try to say that of institutional power, which really didn't, would be Donald Trump, because Donald Trump was not a white nationalist or a neo-Nazi or alt-righter. The guy had his family who were Jews and everything. He liked Israel, in some cases maybe to the detriment. I don't know, depending on how you would consider it.
I mean, I was gonna say like he was more pro-Israel than the past few presidents. He was willing to move the embassy to Israel's capital, Jerusalem.
Exactly. And the closest things you have him saying is saying that he doesn't want illegal immigrants in the United States from Mexico. That's it.
Well, yeah, and they take so many clips out of context. They're like, he said there was good people on both sides. And they cut out the end of it where he said, except the white nationalists and neo-Nazis. But, they just left that part out. And they're like, he called all Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said he was referring to MS-13. It's in the speech. You can go listen to it if you're a moron leftist and you believe that BS, because it's not true. Oh, and by the way, I've never met a white nationalist or a white supremacist or a neo-Nazi. I met a couple online. One of them I think was faking, and then there's Z, but he's just an asshole.
Oh, fuck you.
Hey, he's just German. Germans don't count.
Oh, they're all that way.
He didn't choose this way. He was born like this.
How are those camps going that you're building over there, Z? Frau Merkel's going to put you in a re-education camp. Yeah, that is right, bro.
Anyways, let's continue with the video.
I swear to God, if I somehow find you in the US, I'm gonna drown you in a public toilet bathroom.
It's okay. I'll fart on you.
Ew. Okay,
I don't
let's
smell,
continue.
So it's not surprising when he is so prevalent, he will have, however big it is, a significant contingent of his fans being part of the alt-right. And while I was being doxxed and reading various comment chains and stuff like that on Reddit, one thing often people said of these alt-right groups is that PewDiePie is great for red-pilling people and getting people in this mindset where they can be recruited into the alt-right. So that is the political landscape out the way.
Wait, being red pilled is being recruited into the alt right?
Wait a minute. We have people who are Richard Spencer, for example, who's voting for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
How much is he contributing? How much is he contributing to Nazism? You know, just because somebody fucking likes something, I don't think that's fair to conflate everything to that one person. For God's sakes. Like, I'm pretty sure CNN isn't responsible for Antifa members liking, well, maybe to some extent, in fairness, but for the most part aren't responsible for that shit. Or at least you get the gist of what I'm saying, right?
No, the local mayors and governors are responsible for that shit.
Yeah.
CNN's just a propaganda outlet.
Now I want to talk more about the sort of male side to it, and white male side to it primarily in the West. So,
oh God,
what?
Everyone who used to play video games online back in the day will remember Call of Duty search and destroy lobbies, or Halo 3 lobbies, or anything like that.
Fucking dude, it's like, hey ma, I played with my dick today. Nobody cares, it's not a feat. Anyone can do that. You find someone's back insertion, you wait for them to spawn, and
you can't lie, this stuff was better than therapy.
Can we just say one thing before anything? Most of them were fucking kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just trash talk. That's all it is.
That's what I said earlier. I was like, so a bunch of 14 and 15-year-olds are talking trash to each other.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is better
So
than
what?
most forms of therapy. It's free and you let out your rage.
You know, and also everybody of every single other race also does the same fucking thing.
Oh God, yeah.
So
You know how many times I've been in an online game and get called either a chink or a cracker? It happens all the time.
Maybe if you stop speaking Chinese, they would stop calling you
I
that.
cannot help it. Samahalida. Bingdawa.
This is how your channel gets deleted, Outlaw.
923. You talk shit like a loser. I thought you just won, yet you're talking shit like a little bitch.
I did your mom last night.
Dude, you're hilarious. You're talking shit. You're such a fag. Hey, I'm better than more than half your fucking team. Look at where I'm at. I'm above you. Shut your mouth. 23. You like getting raped? Is that what you're talking about? Because I tell you stuff like this, but I got you fucking packed right now. You can't open your mouth to suck it, motherfucker. You just chill the fuck out, and we'll beat you.
And you know, while it might have been funny at the time, when you look back at it as an adult, you would think that these are some of the biggest assholes on the internet.
When you're an adult and you look back upon that, all you think are the good old days. That should be your appropriate reaction. You will acknowledge that it was bad, but you will also acknowledge your fucking childhood was shit, and this was better.
Now, the stuff people would say to you as a kid would be the most awful stuff you've ever heard, be insanely racist, openly racist, and screaming slurs at each other. And, you know,
did you go
most
to
of
high
us will
school?
all have some experience
Or
of
junior
that.
high?
It's gotten better now, but not too much better. I've been playing Call of Duty lately.
Quick question.
And you still often...
Real goddamn quick. And, you know, he's applying some kind of incredible nuance there. You know, he's really considering the feelings of everyone else, and he's really considering the human spirit of things, all right? Should all be good to men, and we shouldn't say that shit. I just wish he didn't call everybody with a fucking center-right opinion a goddamn Nazi, PewDiePie fucking contributing to fucking neo-Nazis. I just wish he applied this fucking logic to literally everything else. Oh, and I wish that he especially applied this to capitalism.
I just want to know where this mofo went to junior high, because I heard that was like a normal day. Like that chat, that was a normal day in junior high. Besides getting thrown into lockers and a whole bunch of other stuff, actual physical abuse. You know, the verbal abuse that we all threw at each other, that was normal. It happened every day.
But yeah, kids are assholes.
Yes. And so, of course, when they get online, they're going to talk crap. Like, why is he surprised? Did he go to some private school, like some... he went to, like, an Oxford school, and he's so hoy, yeah, hoy and mighty.
No, you're just confusing something else. He's English.
Hey,
English
well,
really don't know how to have fun.
Technically, he's Irish.
Shut up.
Oh, well then, I'll make a boat and sail away now. Oh, Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious. Except for
No,
the city
that-
with the PlayStation hat
No,
on.
that is Ireland. If he's living in North Ireland, it's not really Ireland because all the Irish people left when the British started shooting the Irish.
Right, well, my opinion is if it's not Scottish, it's crap. That or Daddy Vladimir will bomb you.
Anyways, let's continue.
Go.
And have times where this stuff pops up.
Your cheeks, my fist, inserted elbow deep in your goddamn butt cheeks.
Now, what I wanted to talk about is
What a place to cut to.
Was he expecting us to like be scared or something?
That was fucking hilarious.
Some idiot on a video game said he's gonna shove his fist up your butt. Like, oh, I'm so scared. It's like Scooby saying he's gonna see me before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I feel like it has a lot of similarities with football culture in the UK and football terraces, meaning the grounds in the UK specifically. So when you get a big group of white men together and there's no censors on what you can say.
No. It's not just white men. That's just men in general. Men are very territorial and very what's the word I'm looking for?
Sexually driven,
tribal.
for God's sakes.
Men are just much more likely prone to saying very mean or rude things like that when they're together like that. It's not just purely white men. That's racist to say it's just white men. Go to any country with like that, and you'll find all men everywhere are like that in a general sense, in a broad sense.
Go to a football game in South America. Go to one in Africa. Go to one in India. I guarantee you the same stuff happens.
Although, to be fair, the British do have the football insanity kind of, you know.
It's worse in certain countries where it's
No. I was just gonna say just Manchester, because I forgot what was the whole thing. There's Manchester United, and then there's the other one, and the two fan bases will constantly riot with each other, and it's still an ongoing problem.
Yeah, it's a weird thing in Europe that you guys have. In the US, we don't have.
No,
that.
it's the UK.
Oh, yeah, we do.
This issue is literally an
Hey,
exclusive
Florida does not
British thing.
count, Demon.
No, I'm talking about like Boston, Philly. They win a basketball game, like a playoff game, they're rioting. They lose it, they're rioting. Yeah, I mean,
I never understood, why would you riot when you won?
Because they're celebrating by burning cars and breaking
I don't
stuff.
know. Why the fuck does Antifa destroy diversity fucking black communities?
Anyway,
Because
That's
they're
because
actually
Antifa has a
racist.
long. No, that's because Antifa has a long-running hatred of black people, and this was the whole guise to how to destroy black communities. Right, it sounds appropriate. You say you want to help black people and you want more diversity and you want to, get them out of poverty, whilst all you do is you make them homeless.
Yeah,
Well, no,
and then you
it's
put an
part of
abortion
the-
clinic in their neighborhood.
Well, it's part of their strategy to try to recruit more members to their cause.
Anyways, let's continue.
And there's no one enforcing these rules really. You can say whatever you want. I feel like the cesspool that it really creates is pretty toxic and disgusting. So football in the UK, like most of Europe, has a massive problem with racism. And I've been at my local team and heard slurs against, black players and Arab players. Despite
Yes, because more often than not, the fucking football team is supposed to represent the fucking region, and when like half of the football team is made out of Moroccans, because like the German national football team, like half are Moroccans or from another African country who don't even live in Germany. It's like, how does this represent Germany itself?
Mm-hmm.
own team mostly being non-white, which is just the irony of it all. But they feel safe enough in this environment, unlike public society. They feel safe enough with a group of strangers that they can say this stuff without repercussion. And I feel like gaming, at least, used to be just like that. And it really helps for a lot of people, especially when you're young, blur the line between what is, just humor and shock humor and what is acceptable. And, as an adult, I'm saying none of this stuff is acceptable now, but as a kid, you might
I wonder
just
how many
repeat this stuff.
clubbers
You might
been kicked
repeat
out of
these
from.
slurs. You might repeat, all this stuff that you hear adults and other people saying
Well, the
when you're
problem
in
is with
these
that
more
his claim
hostile
is
environments.
kind of subjective. Like a lot, there's a lot of black people who don't mind black humor. They like all the jokes about it. I think that's more of a personal preference because at the end of the day, it's not like we went up and shot somebody in the fucking face, nor did it in the context of wanting to reinsert the Fourth Reich. In lack of better words, it was just a joke.
Well, here's my thing. To his point, this is the problem with hate speech laws. Who decides? Who decides what's hate speech? Who decides, where the line is? Do you? Do I? No, some bureaucrat does. And that's just, to me, that's unacceptable.
Well, and I got the feeling he's just talking about white people. He hasn't mentioned anyone else.
He is just talking about white people.
Like, Jesus Christ, man. Do you not know about the Armenian genocide? Do you not know about the other fucking bigotry around the world that happens?
Well, it's because you can only make fun of white people. Because they're the only ones who are racist. Even though we're a minority of the world's population.
Where you're fighting everyone, where you're trying to say the most shocking thing.
You know what the solution to that is? He's muted himself.
Hold on, I gotta answer the phone.
Okay. Let's just continue. I'll say the joke
later.
later.
You don't fear any repercussions. You don't think someone's going to report your account and Microsoft's going to ban you. You don't think that someone's going to record you saying it and it's going to have a backlash because you feel safe saying this stuff in this environment because you feel like everyone else is like you. So I feel like the unfiltered nature of video game communities at times, combined with the toxic anti-left, anti-SJW politics, does create this fertile environment for people to become radicalized. One last thing I want to talk about is what I talk about with things like furries and everything, is people seeking community. People who may have a hard time in real life, may not have many friends, may not have, a nice family or anything like that, seeking community.
There's a lot of assumptions there, buddy.
Now, I was talking about this specifically with the brony and furry videos, and it is a stereotype about gamers, which I feel is a...
I hear you pausing.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I do not want to know what his opinions on fucking bronies are.
Well, before he goes into that, one of the things that we can call the Nazis as evil because we can legitimately measure everything that they do. We can bring up probably on the top of our heads 1 trillion really fucked up things that they've done. Or the Japanese, or who the fuck ever. And his best example, or the best thing that he can come up with, is that PewDiePie might be indoctrinating some people off the most vaguest of reasons. He doesn't have a hell of a lot. Nothing that I'm going to lose any sleep over. And even to the kids that he's mentioning, A, as we explained, they weren't that serious, and B, none of them come up to be fucking neo-Nazis, and C, certainly every fucking person in the world does it. So, what's his fucking point? Because if you would try to realistically implement anything that he's doing, if you bring it up for the president, anything else, it wouldn't achieve anything. Nope. Like even if every single fucking white person went along and agreed with this, there's still going to be fucking ethnic genocides in Africa.
Yeah, we don't need white people for that.
No, or the Middle East, or, the Chinese putting people in, concentration camps.
Or whatever civil war is happening in the Oceanic region.
Yeah. Well, that's all the white man's fault.
A bit dated now because it used to be, gaming culture was a bit more underground in the sense that it wasn't very understood by the mainstream. If you're playing online,
Yeah, that I would say was
back
better
in the day,
times.
you're going to have a significant investment and understanding of the technology, especially before things like Xbox Live. So it's safe to say you were very passionate about this stuff before it become normalized and mainstreamed. You know, it'd be stuff you could get bullied about back in the day, be called a nerd and everything. But I feel like gaming can be a place, if you're disenfranchised or lonely or having a hard time, is where you can seek camaraderie and seek, you know, this community. But when it's so dominated by the Gamergators, by anti-SJWs, by this
What
hive
did he
mind
just fucking
politics,
say?
which is hard to push against because
the Gamergators.
You know what?
I'm fucking brain dead.
What?
I'm fucking brain dead over it.
Okay.
I'm so over this asshole.
Gamergate hasn't been relevant for years now.
It's been 6 fucking years. Choose something else.
Apparently, it's relevant to them.
Well, they're trying to make it relevant again.
They've been doing that for past 6 years. They have to drop it
all the time. Anyways,
I mean,
I think that's enough for this video.
Yeah. I mean, if I have to give an example as to how fucking dead Gamergate is, guess who died at the same time Gamergate started?
I don't know.
Robin Williams.
What does that have to do with it?
No, I'm just trying to give an example. That Robin Williams skeleton is bound to be dead, just a fucking skeleton at this point. And Gamergate is still trying to revive itself.
Oh, okay. But that's the thing, it's people on the left doing it, it's not us.
Yeah, but they keep dragging it and then they keep blaming us for Gamergate, even though
it's probably a sign they're running out of arguments.
Well, it's probably just because, you know, they're like, oh, you guys came out and said The Last of Us 2 sucked. It's like, it's because you killed the main character with a golf club. And the main character that you put in there was a horrible person. I don't give a crap if it was a tranny. I don't care.
It was not a satisfying story, period.
No, it was just badly written. That's why. Nothing else. And what else? I don't know. I haven't really hated on a bunch of games lately. I mean, mainly just that one. The Star Wars games have gotten kind of crappy, but that's just because the gameplay sucked.
Well, I don't know. I kind of like the, what was it? The Fallen Order?
Oh, that, yes. But I'm talking about, like, Battlefront.
Oh, yeah.
Battlefront has gotten better. It's one of those things that have improved over time. The one which people didn't like, but people were willing to semi-forgive it for the gameplay, was Squadrons.
I didn't play that.
Well, let's just say there is a character in it which uses they/them pronouns.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not exactly silent about
the
that.
Star Wars game.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard about that. And they kind of did the same thing in Apex Legend. They were...
Oh, did anyone hear about Apex Legends stealing shit?
What? No.
So they're currently being sued by a small studio because some time ago... So this small studio is making a game. And some time ago, the studio has had a little hack. Okay, sometimes it happens. Nothing really of value was stolen, just some files copied. The game hasn't been released. None of any of the promotional material has been released yet. But there is this cowboy-esque character, and Apex Legends just released a new character, or a trailer for a new character, who looks exactly the same as this guy. And his files and the artwork for the character was one of the things that was stolen from the hack.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so Apex Legends is now in a very serious lawsuit.
Good. They should be. That's some BS.
Anyways, if we want to, we can just play some games now, if everyone wants to. We can play some Among Us.
I just have that Spaceman game.
You don't have Among Us?
No.
Why?
Because I just bought 2 other games.
I was kind of doing something else, though. I'm gonna have to pass on that one.
All right.
I
Well,
bought
maybe we
I
can
bought
play it
Among
some
Us
other
for
time.
$3.
On Steam?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, I'll check it out. But, I'm not doing it right now. I got other
All
crap
right.
I gotta get to.
Well, I guess we'll
Alrighty.
just end it today.
Let's
So,
let's
no
make a
one else
plan
has
and
any-
just do. Let's make a plan and just do a game stream, Outlaw.
Yeah,
can
I
do
like
that.
that. It's been a while since we've done that. You know, just ease some pressure. You know, I love
Yeah.
politics, but
Or-
it does get a little competitive at times.
All right. Well, we can do that for next week then. How does that sound?
Considering that motherfucker.
Yeah,
We'll just ignore all the BS that's going on, and we'll just play a game.
Unless
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
very
that
big
would be good.
happens.
yeah, if something
yeah.
big happens, we can cover it for like half an hour, then go into a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
that
So,
sounds good to me.
all right.
Yay.
So, for those who are watching or watching later on, please go ahead and subscribe, share the live stream, also give it a like. And of course, if you really like my content, please consider donating to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi. And also follow me on Medium, where I post articles periodically and give my articles 50 claps for each of them. And of course, you can also follow RedWolphe. He does his art stuff. His Discord, I think, name or link or whatever is in the description. He does different drawings. He's a very good artist. So consider maybe asking him if he will do a commission for you, any kind of art that you might want, whether for yourself or a family member. You can also follow Neko on YouTube and Twitter. He does his geek culture stuff. And of course, you can follow Z Commander on his Twitter and his Discord. He does also some commissions for different models like tanks, cars, stuff like that. So go ahead and commission him.
I need the money.
Anyways, do all this, and we'll see y'all later.